Oh boy, hi guys. That's an interesting thing. Geezer lives in GMT, uh, and let's see, Stefan, you're in GMT plus one, right? And I'm in GMT minus five. Hi, Dominic. And Blaine is in GMT plus nine. Now, Blaine, where is GMT plus nine? Um, They call it CET. I like that. Central European Time. Hi, Lee. What do I miss? Oh, just an elephant walked behind me. You missed that one, Lee, though. Japan. I used to live there when I was a kid. I lived in outside of Tokyo. It was a long time ago. There was, I tell you how long ago, there was still war damage behind where I lived. Good morning, Mark. How are you? Um, so here we are. Okie doke. Let me ask you something. I looked at yesterday's. Hi, Javier. I looked at yesterday's afternoon streaming, and some people had some. They were saying during the streaming there was some buffering. And I looked at the video and I didn't see any, so I don't know. Hey, John, how you doing? In the U.S. military, it is India time zone. Okay. Hey, Jeffrey, how are you? Lee? Oh, good. Man, some of you guys are up early. Mark and Lee. Good grief. Oh man. I got this is day four of my H. Moser endeavor. And one of the things I like about this is 7 day, and what I forget to do, and I probably ought to do more often when I'm looking. Here it is. It comes with its own little cloth, so I wouldn't want to have one that was not a real H. Moser cloth. You know, one of these an ETA cloth. All right. So what I wanted to show you, let me see if I can see it. Right there, I think right there is the power reserve indicator. And I don't have that many power reserve indicators on my watches. Both my Mosers and both of my FP Jorns, and the FP Jorns are all on the front, and I like that too. And it, the power reserve indicator can be a big part of the design. Now, Moser has very, very smooth and elegant designs, and with without any power reserve indicator on the front, it gives it a certain look. The power reserve indicator on the back is not a problem because all you got to do is check it, when you put it on. Now, this is a 7 day, and I'm on day four, so I don't worry about it because it really actually will. It doesn't start losing time until about day 8 or 9. So anyway, okay. Hello, Orange Hand. How are you? Truth Fears, and you, sir. Abdul. Hi, Abdul. For my money on the case back is a perfect place for it. Yeah, I like it. Well, I like them. It depends on the watch, I think. I you know, there's so many different ways of enjoying watch collection. I've been finding more and more. Hi, Watch Habit. I liked it. Hello, people. Oh, and Bill. Oh man. Glad you're staying pretentious. That's the way to be. Um, I was thinking about watch values and getting a watch. Okay, somehow coming one. And the watches that we're looking at, or the movements we're looking at, we started with the movement, and we got a one by Marco Lang, and we're hoping by Agenor. And if all, and then we have a third option that we've talked about, and that would be Rolf Lang. So here we have three, not just good movements, but really significantly great movements. Now, there's another option we have, and we talked about it, and that's buy Vossure. Now, Vossure, you have to buy 25, I think. And so I'm thinking, that might be another option we want to explore. The problem is we'd have to have 25 people who, swear in blood that they're going to get it, because otherwise, that's a lot of money to stick out there. And we had talked about, in fact, I think the name of the movement was the 3004. And so here you have another source of a really good movement as a base for it, a case by Voutilanen and Kylan. I mean, and the only thing left would be a dial. And we've been talking about an enamel dial, and getting a good, clean enamel dial with some kind of dialing around it. I mean, we have to have some kind of indicators around it. So anyway, that's where we are now. So I thought, wow, why don't we talk about watch deals? That's always fun. Okay, what are you guys up to right now? How many wines to power up a 7-day power receive? 3 times more than a typical watch? That's a good question, and I don't know the answer. I'll tell you, my Vacheron Constantin Historiques Américaine 1921. That thing, it takes a half a day to wind it, and it runs 2 days. And this one and my Beauvais 1930, which is also a 7-day, they don't take that much time to wind up. And the thing I like about both of them, this one, is that I sort of have a feeling no matter what, if I'm, just going into my watch case to pull one out, this one will be wound and running, which isn't true, of course, because if it gets ignored for 7 days, it stops like any other watch, hand wound watch. What's the cost per piece if we buy 25? Jeffrey, it's a lot less. It's about 1,000, roughly that. I'll make an inquiry and find out. That's one thing I haven't done yet. We have time, because if I never hear back from Agenor, which would be too bad, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And because the other one's not going to be available until what? October, the UWD, which one I would really like to have, as well as the Agenor. Now, when your worst case scenario is really a top rated movement, $1,000 right around there per movement is not chump change. You're talking about a couple $100 for an ETA. And, so when you're talking about $1,000 for a movement, you're talking about, pretty hefty load. When you're talking about 4,000 or 5,000, you're talking about exceptional horology. And that's true with the Agenor, the Rolf Lange, and the what I keep calling it the Marco Lange, or the UWD 33.2. So so the other one was just high horology, which isn't bad. Let's see. Hey, Chris, how are you? And that's something. Good to see you. Watch habit. Are we ever going to see a Rolex in your collection? I hope so. If I find one that is, a really good one with interesting stuff on it, yeah. Right now, there are 3 Rolexes I like. One is the Prince, because I still think that's one of the coolest movements that I've ever seen a Rolex. Of course, you don't see the movements. It's hand wound. It has an exhibition window in the back. But the big surprise about that is that the guilloche in the front is continued on the back. That's a hard watch not to like. So the answer is, yeah, but the problem, watch habit, isn't that I have anything against Rolex. In fact, I like them. It's just that I find other things I like better for around the same price. And, it's like people, if you look at the value of a watch as a combination of movement and features and so forth, plus the aesthetics of it, okay, then that's what, to me anyway, is a good watch value. Now, the idea that, look, when all of us started on, the first thing I think as a collector I learned was that the best resale value was on a Rolex and a Patek Philippe. So I went out and got a Patek Philippe. So is it still worth the same amount that it was when I bought it? Yeah, probably more because, well, from the prices I've seen, it is definitely worth more. And plus, I added some things to it, like a new strap, a new Patek Philippe strap, a new Patek Philippe um, buckle, plus something that a lot of them don't have, especially vintage ones. I went to the Patek Philippe Service Center in New York City and got the gold spring bars so it wouldn't gouge the gold of the watch. So, yeah, but do I wear a lot? I wish I did, but I don't. Is there another Rolex that I would like? Boy, are there. There's couple that I really like, and I've always liked. They just sort of always came in second to something that I like better. And no fault against them. I like them. I like FP Journes too. I like them a lot. I like Boot and Lannons. There's so many watches I like. Are you sure that the restriction on 25 movements applies to off the shelf? Or no, it's off the shelf, Mark. Hi, John. Not on the set. Anybody familiar with Pol Pot watches? Good or no good? Polja. They're the Russian watches. They're a good buy. I mean, they're inexpensive. I bought one for $25, $35, and it has an alarm. The alarm still works, and I can, my checkbox with alarm watch is checked off, but it's not something that, because my hearing's so crappy that I can I need Big Ben in there. Now that's my experience with Polja. They're very they're just sort of like a no frills watch, and they're very tough. Some of them I really like. They have something like a diver with a picture of a frogman or something on it. It's really cool. I don't know. That's my opinion of Poljot. Eastern Arabic. Is there a Western Arabic? Ah, boy. Hi, 1111. Okay, I may be wrong, and somebody correct me if I am wrong. I believe Western Arabic is what we just call Arabic, okay? Eastern Arabic has a different numbering, different looking numbers. The history behind the numbers of why Arabic numbers are the way they are is really fascinating. It has to do with the number of angles in the letter. Like a 1 has 1 angle, a 2 has 2, and so forth. Really interesting stuff. Hey, Chris, Bill is okay not to want a Rolex. There's enough Rolex YouTube channels out there. Yeah, no, hey, Chris, the thing is that I know a lot of people who have Rolexes and lots of other lots of other watches in their collection. I know people who like Rolexes. I'm too eclectic. I have decided I'm going to stop at 2 of any watches. So I got 2 FP Journes, I got 2 Mosers, I've got 2 Parmigianis, I've got I got 3 Beauvais, but one of them I sort of don't count because it's sort of the older Beauvais. So you get, and but say, oh well, what about a Rolex? Okay. Give me just a minute. All right, some great deals on A Longa and so on right now. Yeah, that's true. A Longa's finally, because those are nice watches. Does Dufour wear his Pepsi ironically? Kind of like Moser's Swiss Icon watch. No, he doesn't. It's like a good tool watch. I think Dufour, when asked what was the best watch under $10,000, he said a Nomos. And a Nomos is a great tool watch. If it's in fact, it's I really like Nomos a lot. And so, you get a Nomos, you get a Rolex, they're great tool watches. The one that Dufour really likes and wears a lot is the A Longa data data something or other, data chron or chrono data, something like that. He thinks that's the best, what he calls sequentially produced watch. In other words, mass produced, but he calls it sequentially produced. He said in the interview with Tim Moser that he really likes it. I can't blame him. If you can go to a store and get whatever model you want quickly, why not? Okay. I like the Rolex Day Date too. All right. ALS deals on very, very high end started like a year ago. Now it's trickled down to the lower price, down to the lumpen proletariat. Huh? That's us. Hi, Raj. How you doing? Okay, sorry about that. Polyot. Oh, hey, that's a cool way to pronounce it. Thank you, Raj. If I can, I try to pronounce things correctly, but my hearing's crap. So having things written out like that really helped me. Polyot. I got a Polyot, guys. Let's see. Sometimes an eye on ALS Saxonia moon phase, waiting for a deal for out. I tell you, my only thing with Saxonia, I generally like them without the moon phase, but I like it, but I think they tended to run a little small. I think I like around 38 is sort of my bottom, but I prefer 40. But I still like them, Saxonia. But there's another one called 18 something or other that I like, and then there's one called Lange. So that would be and I talked to my problem is that I have so many watches that are pretty straight up like that. And so I'm trying to find, check off all my complications that I want. And the closest I'm going to get apparently to a Remontoy Galate is the True Second, Jaeger LeCoultre Geophysic True Second. Love that watch. But, there are other things too. I still don't have a proper chronograph. Well, if unless you consider the my monorattrapont a proper chronograph, it's more of a. I got it because I thought the whole idea of a mono rattrapont was so cool, and that's another thing I like to get is a two-handed rattrapont. Okay, let's see what's going on. In French, there is a saying, "Never two without three." Oh man. Okay. I think if Rolex makes a day date with a moon phase, that would be a hit. I like the 80s. Okay. Um, French, I don't get that, John. There's saying never two without three. I'm not sure what that means. It sounds cool though. It's easy to remember. Let's see. Okay. ALS would be a nice one. Hey Lee, how you doing? One Rolex would do me. Again, if I had two Rolexes, because my limit's two, I'd probably want to get the Prince and either the Yachtmaster 2 or the Air King. And that's the new Air King, the one with the Bloodhound dial on it. Could be bad watches. The next big addition to my collection will most probably be a Lange Moser as a close second. If both excellent watches, and I wouldn't be surprised if the A Lange has a Moser hairspring in it. Come to think of it, would be good to add a German-made watch. Period. Glashütte has a nice pieces, but I need to learn more about the brand. I wish Marco Lang is coming out this summer with his own brand now. It'll be a Marco brand, and God knows what he's doing with investors. Investors, It's sort of like getting your own shark. I hope it doesn't eat you. It'll take care of business for you, but the other parts of it can often be problematic. Let's see. Hey, Blaine, I say, admire Rolex fluted bezel and Jubilee bracelet, that and a Rolex crown at 12 o'clock. Hey, that's great. Yeah, I get a neat bracelet. I like the bracelet. The bracelet I really, really like, though, is the bracelet on the Patek Philippe Neptune. That I think is the coolest looking bracelet. And the bracelets on Parmigiani's are the best I've ever worn. I don't own a Rolex, but in all honesty, if I could walk down to the AD, get whatever one I wanted at a 25% off, like any other watch, I'd probably have an Explorer 39 by now. Meaning that your watch collection of two will finally end up three of each. Yeah, maybe. ALS actually makes hairsprings. They supply JLC. Okay, then that's something I learned. Anyone know the deal with H. Moser having a pre-owned section on their site? Is this new discontinued stock? That's my guess, Watch Habit. That's exactly my guess. NS something habit. Think it's some refurbished, some NOS. Probably right. Uh, I did walk into a store and leave an Explorer too, no discount. No argument. They are great watches. Just funny that the independents don't wear their own stuff or others similar. What do you mean? Independents wear their own stuff. I think they do. Um, no to Rolex, actually. You know, if if a Rolex or any brand has everything I like, I'll get it. It is that I think it's important, really extremely important, is that if the whole issue of resale value is set aside and you look at the watch, you look at the quality of the watch, the features of the watch, and you get it on the basis of that, you're going to have a good deal no matter what. I once did an analysis of the resale value of Rolexes, and if you look at the oh, what's it called? The buy and sell values at there's a Rolex Bob's watches or something like that. And he has both the buy and sell differences. Is it's about 25%. I wrote it all down and put it in a spreadsheet, and it's about 25% on the average. Okay. Some less, some more. And if you buy four Rolexes, that means 100% that you've lost somewhere. And it's like, is that a good thing? If you do it enough, it's going to be a little more expensive because you're paying full price to begin with. You're taking a hit when you sell it. So I don't know. I think that may be an argument for a good used Rolex, is that even though you get a little break from the brand new price. When you go to resell it, I don't think it loses very much at all on the second time around. Same thing true with if you get a Parmigiani at a good price, and I'm not talking sticker price, I'm talking about NOS kind of price, shop worn price. You're going to get it at a fraction of the price, but then you go to resell it, and you're not going to lose much, if anything. So, that whole thing. But I think that takes us away from the focus of what really makes a good watch. And then once we identify what's a good watch, then we can figure out what's a good deal for us, not for anybody else. Still on Dufour and the Pepsi bill. Well, good for you. Like if Dufour likes, okay, look at Dufour. He's got the singularity and the duality. What is the frequency he uses? Anybody know? Anyone know what frequency, or in the duality and the singularity? I'll tell you what it is. It's 2.5. It's 2.5 hertz, which is 18,000 VPH. What about a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, Roger Smith uses a Rolex too." What's the frequency of his watches? You know the answer to that. They're all 2.5 hertz. And this is all of the Rolexes are 4 hertz, and there's good reason for it. Okay, the ones with the slower and lower have to be. They're probably not as well suited for what for what Dufour calls sequential production as the higher hertz, and there's some other advantages of having a higher hertz. But why is it that all of the top watchmakers have 3 or below? And that's one of the questions that helped me find what in the world is, and trying to learn why do they do that? And there are lots of good reasons, and they're not all the same. One of the best ones, I think it's from Smith, said, "Well, first of all, you're not going to beat the crap out of it. You're not going to need as much service. You're not going to have as much wear and tear on it. I think, with a not finely tuned one, you're not going to have the same accuracy. But that's true with a 4 hertz. If it's not tuned well, you're going to lose something on that. So anyway, but different things. Is it 18,800? I just thought it was 18,000. Maybe I'm wrong. Difference between value for money and appreciation over time is the attitude of resale. The idea that uh, I got a watch and I paid a lot for it, but then it's worth over $60,000 now, which is nowhere near what I paid for it. Is that a good deal? Only if I sell it, and I don't want to sell it. So the value of the watch has not changed one iota. The price has. I don't know. If you have a watch and you don't enjoy it, where's the value? Okay, Saxonia thin. It falls within my wrist sweet spot. What is it? Marco, the Saxonia thin is one I really like. Yeah, I know, geezer. Yeah, that's a good point. Roger Smith. I mean, why would Roger Smith want to? He either has $100,000 on his wrist in watches, or he has it in his pocket. And the Rolex that he has, my understanding, is that he has one of the Daniels ones, because Daniels had a lot of watches he was trying to sell to different companies, including a Rolex with the coaxial movement in it. So, the top makers want watches to last almost forever. I think you're right, Dominic. I really do. Service cost after 10-year warranty on a Rolex is crazy. I tell you, service costs on really good watches is a lot of money. Um, I had both of my FP joints serviced a couple years ago, and it wasn't cheap. Worth every penny of it, though, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if I didn't like the watches and had to pay them, it was sort of like a chore, like you're driving some old heap and you have to keep taking it in because it falls apart. It's a big difference here. Uh, yeah, watch it. Yeah, that is so funny. I have some watches I don't wear, and I don't have the heart to sell them. It's like sort of, taking one of your kids and shoving them out in the snow. You're on your own, Jack. What I decided to do, any watches that I get rid of, I'm going to trade in on something of the same brand. Um, I don't know. I'll keep my 2 watch thing going. Well, listen, guys, I got to run, and thank you all. Everyone stay safe. Still haven't heard anything more than I had before. Tell you what I'll do though. I will contact Washer and I will ask them for that watch that we had. We had looked at the three-hand watch. It's an automatic and it is a 4 hertz watch. They have a more expensive one. Maybe I ought to ask for both of them. They have a more expensive one with a micro rotor, and it runs at 3 hertz. Should I ask for both of them? Probably not a bad idea. We'll see. Okay, everyone, take care, be safe, and if you go around this afternoon, love to see you again.